This was unexpected. There was road work and I couldn't go where Nav sent me, and I ended up at the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center. I didn't know there was such a thing, but they will know what else there is in Oakley to do. And then we need to wrap this up and start back eastward. And that's your general store and the creamery. And it's just a little pathway through with windows that you can see all the collections. Look at her. She's got meat and cheese she's packaging. I just like this setup. And it's nice and bright. When I was a little boy, there was a wood paneling in my room that had cattle brands on it. This is the only time I've seen the cattle brands all over the walls. But I just remembered that. My childhood bedroom had cattle brands all over the walls.
I don't know that much about it, but it's a quilt thing that some of the kids did at school.
The children did.
Yeah.
With fabric scraps.
And so we're getting ready to put a display out in the lobby out here.
That is really cute. What did they put it on?
I think it's just a piece of cardboard.
Oh, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Name.
Yeah, I don't know what order she had them in, so.
All right, souvenirs.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of everything over there.
Oakley. Run for the wall. What was Run for the Wall?
Well, it's a motorcycle thing. They start in California, and their goal is they end up in Washington, D.C. at Arlington Cemetery for Memorial Day. And it's just, they come through here every year. There's actually like 3 routes, and they split them up because there's so many.
Bikers.
Yeah, and we usually have pretty close to 500 that stop here. We feed them lunch, and anyway, so it's upwards of 2,000 bikers.
That was Oakley, Kansas. That will be the furthest point on my trip. Now I turn east to Abilene, to the Dwight Eisenhower Presidential Library. So I'm making my way back towards home now. There was a nice lady in the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center, and I was talking to her, and of course they asked, where are you from, what are you doing, and what are you doing here? Well, I told her that this landscape, driving along this landscape makes you feel sedated. And she said, isn't it nice? I love it. And as I suspected, if she is somewhere where there's lots of buildings and trees, she's flustered, can't handle it. Because I was thinking, the driving here is so easy because it's sparse, it's thin, and if these people had to drive where it's really congested or the roads are narrow and you can't see 5 miles ahead of you, then I bet they would be very anxious. And she confirmed that, because you could hear it in the way she breathed when she said that you can see the sky, you can see the land. And conversely, I told her, like, you can't see the land from the trees. And she suspected as much, but it was kind of funny because this is pleasant. This was pleasant to her. Now, it probably isn't for everybody. I'm sure some people just have a certain personality and they're discontent, and some of those people end up in the cities without resources or very limited resources, and they end up wandering around. I don't know. It's just hypothesizing how people become like that. This is a long stretch we're on now from Oakley, which will be the farthest point from home. Just left it about 5 miles ago. That would be my farthest point, Oakley, Kansas. And now we are on Interstate 70, headed due east to Abilene. You know, there's not been a lot of thrifting, because there's not been a lot of thrift stores or towns or much of anything. I did look at some YouTube videos from different resellers and vloggers and YouTubers who thrift in Kansas City. However, I'm dubious about cities that I'm not familiar with. But I have not done a lot of thrifting. I have some things, and I have some things I'm happy with. I want to thrift a little more. There's also a choir rehearsal at 3 or 4 p.m. on Sunday that I would really hate to miss, because I missed it last week. I was in Tulsa, and Miss Barbara Johnson is turning 80 years old, and she has, well, there's a choir that's accumulated. A choir has formed, I don't know who's organizing it, of all of her past students. And it's called the Barbara Johnson Celebration Choir. And it's a little bit of a dream come true to me to sing in a choir again with my old classmates and choir mates from my 3 years at East Marion. And as Miss Barbara Johnson's student, she is a dear person to me, and I'm very excited about the choir, and I would hate to miss the rehearsal at 4 or 3. I mean, it's quite possible that I'll drive directly from wherever I am, Memphis or Little Rock, to home, to the choir rehearsal, and go to choir rehearsal before I actually go home. Three hours on Interstate 70, and I will find a place to stay the night. Oh, it is laundry time. It is imperative laundry time. There's also some kind of Wizard of Oz thing, and the Flint Hills Museum. So it's Friday. It's about, I can't tell because the sun's shining. What's that say? I can't see. It's like 2:30 or 3 p.m. on Friday. If I can get Dwight Eisenhower, Flint Hills, and Oz. Oh, there's a sign for the Oz. It says Wamego. That's the town. You know, Kansas City is in Missouri. So, Dwight Eisenhower Presidential Library, the Flint Hills Museum, and this Oz, this Wizard of Oz, Dorothy attraction. I would regret not going, having spent this time in Kansas. I'm not going to ditch that. And my dear friend and mail lady is a fan of the Wizard of Oz, and I might find a surprise for her to leave in the mailbox. And of course, there's going to be things pop up, you know, little extraneous tourist attraction stuff. So that's Saturday spent. Saturday is spent. So maybe the thing is, once I get out of Kansas, be it Missouri or there's Fort Smith, Arkansas, that's on the line. I forgot about that. Probably will come home through the Ozarks. That would be a much more enjoyable drive. So here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm not going to stop at places outside of Kansas. Once I'm out of Kansas, I am en route home. I think that's a pretty good resolution. This is Kansas trip. It's not all the lanyard with the Memphis and the Arch and the other. I get out of Kansas, I navigate home. By the way, the last little museums, my lips are tight and bound. I can't even open them without cracking them. You don't want to hear that. There's a lot of dinosaur stuff out here. That was why the last Fick Museum was referred to me, because of the dinosaur stuff. The people at La Guardalejo Museum said, check it out. I'm approaching Hays, Kansas, Hays, and there was a billboard for another museum, a Steinberg. It had a dinosaur or something on the. There's just a lot more of the dinosaur stuff than I would have thought. We are basically at the bottom of an intercontinental sea from 85 million years ago. That's where we are. At the bottom of the sea. Think of all of the life in the water. The from microscopic, the tiny to the big fish. Like, I don't know, back there at that museum there was a fish that was like 12 foot long, like a fish, not a dinosaur. It looked like, well, it looked like a fish. Anyway, so all of that drifting down to the bottom of a sea in Ogallala. I know that word from Lonesome Dove, Ogallala. Isn't that, that might be Nebraska. It's fertilizer. All of that, those diatoms. I love the story of diatomaceous earth. All of that little microscopic stuff floating around in the water, sifting down to the bottom as silt. It's good stuff. And so I wonder if that's why this dirt is rich. It's basically fish. I know fish fertilizer. I have a cousin in Perkinston whose husband would fish, and when he would clean his catch, he'd bury the heads and guts near a chestnut tree in their backyard, and that thing looks much older than it is because of all that fertilizer from the fish. And I wonder if, okay, the way it was told to me, it was the tectonic plates, about, I don't know, I think at that time, that little paleontologist Christopher said that the Rockies were the tectonic plates were pushing together, and the Rockies were rising about the time that the sea down through the center of the North American continent was draining. So I wonder if the pushing up of the Rockies, the buckling of that continental plate, made this sort of drift upward as the Rockies buckled and rose. This part of the land rose as well, and Mississippi River is just the last little piece of that. It's the last little channel. It's the drain. Like, can't you see, like, letting the stopper out of a tub, and then all the water sinks, and then there's like one little rivulet of water makes its way to the drain. One last little rivulet of water. That's sort of the Mississippi River. And I'm not speaking theologically, because I think it's all the same, just different ways of explaining it. You know, you could be a 6-day creationist, or a paleontologist, or both, I believe. I mean, an intercontinental sea that's 85 years old, that was just all in the makings. It just all fit in there somehow. That's what I personally believe. And I don't... Oh, there's turkeys! I can't zoom one-handed, one-fingered, but there were about 5 turkeys out there. They were pretty. Anyway, I suspect you kind of understand where I'm coming from. I'm not proselytizing one way or the other. I just think it's just really interesting to learn about. Fort Hays. I believe that. I think that was on my National Park, NPS, National Park Service app. Again, I've got to do laundry at some point. And that's more so a reminder to myself. Well, I just saw a billboard that said, "See the bison at Frontier Park." Something like that. So We're gonna see Fort Hays and the bison at Frontier Park. The name might have been different. Walter Chrysler Boyhood Home. I wonder if that might be the Chrysler, dude. I want to see the bison at Frontier Park and Fort Hays. And there's just enough time to do that. It's 3:22. So we may make it as far as Salina, I think. I want to pronounce it Salina, and I've been pronouncing it Salina, and I've been wrong every time I've heard it spoken back to me as Salina. So, it says Topeka. We're going through Topeka. I want to see the bison in Frontier Park in Fort Hays. Maybe we'll stop in Salina. Guess what I think is in Salina? A yellow brick road. There's the title for this installment of Arts, Parks, and Picking. The Yellow Brick Road. There it is. It can't be just Kansas. It's not really the Heartland because it's just a sampling of the Heartland. I'm calling this the Yellow Brick Road. You want me to do my lion impression? I can do a good cowardly lion impression. Maybe not while I'm driving. Is it still recording? Am I the cowardly lion? Is that who I am? Let's see something. My eyes are puffy, like the actors. And my mane is here. Give me a second and I'll wrap it around my beard. Put 'em up, put 'em up. I'm the king of the forest. I think I am. Indeed, I'm the cowardly lion. Roar. Right, here we are. Settlement increased during the 1850s, 1860s. The Army built and maintained a series of frontier forts, usually on major transportation routes. Traffic and railroad expansion came into conflict with native people who had lived here for hundreds of years. The forts were established to protect settlers and enforce treaties made with native tribes. U.S. Army operated Fort Hays on this site from 1867 to 1889. In addition to its primary purpose of protecting railroads and settlers, Fort Hays served as a military supply depot for forts south and west of here. The total military reservation included 7,640 acres of land, but the actual fort was composed of 45 major buildings situated on 65 acres. Look, it's hard to talk because my chapped lips, if I open my mouth too wide, they crack. They crack. Good grief. Okay, here we go. There were several forts: Wallace, Dodge, Larned. This Fort Hays originally was named Fort Fletcher.
You must have a place you can call your own. You said that you wanted to put us on this roof, build houses, you can make us medicine lodges. I agree.
Earlier on this trip, there was a pair of birds with yellow bellies. It is a western meadowlark. That's what I saw. Whew, I'm out of breath. This is Officers Row. I believe you can go in. A lot of the buildings are gone, but they have information showing their footprint and purpose. I love that color. Do you see that color? I've been curious about that color. I think on that trip I made through Appalachia, William Morris wallpaper, a large scale, but that is really mustard, isn't it? Stenciled. Look at that. Man, the heat is on in every one of these. You know, what is that? Cheese? This is quite a nice house for an officer. And looks like there were about 4 down the row. Oh well. I'm not doing it. I'm tired. They need mirrors. I could have hung out and talked to the dude in there for a long time. He is smart. And he was telling me a lot about Native Americans. Do you see the white buffalo? I think he said they weren't true albino. I don't remember. But I asked him what else is there to Frontier Park, and he said that's it. It's the buffalo. And I don't really want to get pictures of buffalo in that setting. Do you see all the... That's not the image. So, it's about time to think of a motel. Well, we'll get on down the road a little bit. There was something the guy in there said. He was an odd little character, but really enjoyable, nice, talkative. We talked a long time. He had on a toboggan and glasses and a cap and boots, and he was an odd little dude. But he said something that struck me as more profound than maybe he intended. And I want to share it, to remember it, and think about it. I won't try to explain. He said, most people are living in their own time. There's a statue of the Roadrunner, and I'm on the on-ramp, so I need to get it. But that's kind of funny. Statue of the Roadrunner there. Cathedral of the Plains, and I can see it from here.
In 1,000 feet, merge onto I-70 East.
I can't, lady. I've got to go see the Cathedral of the Plains. It's very tall, very large. Imagine the stained glass windows from the interior. I was kind of waiting for the sun to hit it, and I did see a little bit of a glow up from that light that's just coming below a dense cloud. It's just peeking through. It's coming under the cloud now, so we may get more direct sunlight onto this stone. Either my eyes are playing tricks on me, but it's working. It's kind of, I think the sun is hitting it. Whew, it's overwhelming. So massive. I'm mesmerized because the sun keeps doing different things, and I mean, it's right in front of you, but I just noticed the rose window. I mean, the sunlight on the stone and the blue sky is just magnificent. It's beautiful. And it keeps getting more intense. I can't move. I can't go. One of the neighbors in a house across the street told me to go in churches. They all smell the same. Oh my goodness. Look at the stone, polished granite. I'm not going much further, but I will go in the center. Wow. I'm going to be reverent and not go any further for the sake of sightseeing. Could you imagine the music in here? These people run heaters like we run air conditioning. I always feel kind of bad because I know we use a lot of air conditioning, but my goodness, if there's a heater in Kansas, it's on. There are children playing all over here, all over these church grounds and down the street. I've seen a little boy on a scooter, two little girls walking a dog, another little boy on a bicycle just now. We're talking like 8 to 12-year-olds just out. and crossing the street and chatting amongst themselves. That's just...
Head east on 10th Street toward Dolorosa Street, then turn left onto Dolorosa Street.
They're very fortunate children.
Take the next right onto Cathedral Avenue.
To live where it's safe. Look, there goes another one just running down the street.
Continue on Cathedral Avenue for
He's
1.5
got those little
miles.
blade shoes on, rollerblade shoes. This is Victoria, Kansas. That's the town. And it is sunset, leaving the Cathedral of the Plains, St. Fidelis. I don't know saints well, but that was just kind of, that was a little slice of Americana. So conflicting. So as soon as I said that, I thought about the reservations and the buffalo slaughter, and like, how do you reconcile all of that? And that goes back to what I said so elusively before. The dude at Fort Hayes, most people live in their own time, meaning we don't live in times present, past, and future. Most people live in their time without the weight of what's before and after, and I think that's probably a nice thing, a luxury. I don't know, just things to think about. I am proud that those kids have a safe town to play in. Very proud. And I do think...
In a 1/4 mile, turn right onto the I-70 East ramp.
You take the good, you take the bad, and then you have the facts of life. Ba-rum-ba-bum. Alright, Selena. Well, my navigation woman is calling it Selena, so...
Turn right onto the I-70 East ramp.
Alrighty. I am very tired. I'm just tired. And it's getting hard to see. Not like, I'm not in any danger, okay? I'm just saying I'm tired and I don't like driving at night. Also, I don't know what I'm missing. And I'm not gonna eat out. I've just put into the phone, and I'm also not really keen on fiddling with my phone under these conditions. So I put in search for a Love's travel stop, which is 48 miles ahead, and I'm gonna have hot dogs and coffee. And that's gonna perk me up well enough. And while I'm stopped at the Love's, I'll search for a motel before I get into Abilene. We're gonna pass Selena. The little yellow brick road that I saw on Google is a sidewalk in Sedan, it's not Selena. So, nevertheless, this has been a yellow brick road of sorts. So, 48 miles to Love's, coffee and hot dogs. And while I'm stopped, I will search for a motel. It's also really cold. I know I've said that it was cold, and then it was hot, and then it was cold. But it will be nice to get in a toasty room. When the sun goes down, the temperature really drops. Like, newsflash. Y'all might be wondering why I go on about the loves. Let me show you real quick. There's the drawer with the buns. There's the dogs. And there's other things. Sometimes there's not a lot of other options. Here's a coffee station. All flavors of additives. Just about every kind of cappuccino, or I think frozen. That says chill. No, that's creamer. Maybe not iced coffee. There's Java ice. I don't know, but it's a smorgasbord. Drinks, and then the rest of the store you may be familiar with. But I love it. It's just fun. I just enjoy it. All right, we're gonna get. I like the beef at the other one. And here's the fixins for the hot dogs: bottles, packets, and then relishes and horseradish, onion. 8:23. 8:23. Now I'm at the Diamond something inn or motel. Well lit, fresh paint. It's in a residential area. There's a gas station on the opposite side of this, diagonally across an intersection, and the marquee outside the gas station said "Watch for Kids." And just about one block, there are houses with Christmas lights in the yard. And I felt like that was a good sign. Oh, I like their lamp posts. Those white orbs. So I had to ring the night bell. The guy checked me in. The room isn't bad. But there is a... What does that mean? Clean your birds here? Oh, I know what that means. That's like where you clean fish, or that's what it is. Bird hunt. It's got to be bird hunting. Okay, I'm gonna have my coffee. I know, maybe not the wisest thing at nighttime, but I'm just relieved to be settled.